Right. Welcome, everybody. I am so glad to have you here. Today, we are going to get started and talk a little bit about self-publishing. I am April Cox. I am the founder and CEO of Little Labradoodle Publishing, and I am a children's book author and have been publishing for about 6 years now, and also helping others to publish. I have published about 1,500 authors. We do a number of books every year on behalf of our authors or with authors through my author work group or through some of the publishing services that we provide. And so I welcome you today. We're going to have a presentation about more of an introduction to self-publishing, and I'll talk a little bit about our author work group. So I am very happy to have you here. And I'm also joined today by my partner in crime, Tara. I think I saw her joining. Tara, are you there? Oh, I thought I saw her. She might have been having trouble connecting. All right, so let's just move forward. We have a number of folks here joining me live. If you are catching this on YouTube and you want to jump in and join us live, I'm going to go ahead and post in a comment the link so that you can join me live here. Let me add this. Do comment. Okay. Let's get some more coming. All right. So before I get started, let me just go ahead and share my screen here, and then we'll jump into the presentation. Move this out of the way. Okay. Do me a favor and just verify for me that you can see, maybe get some thumbs up going, that you can see the slides there that are showing. Good, good, good. Okay, so I'm going to go and launch it in slide presentation mode here. We'll go ahead and get started. All right, so introduction to self-publishing. And again, my name is April Cox, and here's the agenda that I have today. And there's a lot to cover, so I am going to kind of go through it at a relatively quick pace, but I will pause for questions. And so if you find you need me to back up on something, just let me know. So we're going to go through some introductions. I'm going to talk a little bit about self-publishing. What is it? The difference between traditional versus self-publishing, some of the roles and people that you need to create your dream team if you want to self-publish a book, some of the steps and process that you may not be aware of that you need to go through, common self-publishing mistakes to watch for, whether you work with me or somebody else. I just want you to be aware of these pitfalls that can come in the way, and I don't want you to get caught up in those. So we will cover those briefly. And then again, at the end, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the author work group that's going to be starting up on January 16th, which is on Tuesday, as of the recording of this session. That will be available and usually is repeated each quarter. So for those that are ready to move forward and need some handholding on their book, you'll learn a little bit more about that and the process that I will go through with my group. So the first thing I'd love to ask you to do is, while we're here together, post in the comments, what is your why? It's really important that you have a really good solid connection to the why behind why you are writing and why you are publishing your book. And the reason is that without a really good solid why, it's going to be difficult to be able to keep yourself moving forward and motivated when things get tough. And it's important to also help set your goals and to help put together plans, the marketing plan, and all of the things and the strategy that we're going to go through. So post a little bit, post in the comments here, what is your why around publishing your book? And while I'm waiting for you guys, I will talk a little bit about my why. These are my beautiful grandchildren, ages 5 to 11. And they are my why for why I got started publishing, because of the bonding and the amazing opportunity I had to spend with these precious little ones. I, at the time, needed a passion project. And I also was becoming more and more aware of the fact that I'm not going to be around forever. And I wanted to leave behind books about values and things that I wanted to pass through my family. So really, it started as a personal legacy project, and it became very addicting for me. I really enjoyed it. I not only write for my grandkids, but I write with my grandkids. And they're starting to write their own stories, and we're publishing together. And then I started helping other people who were having challenges going through things. So they were getting stuck. And at the time, I was getting ready to publish my next book. So I pulled people together and said, hey, for those of you that are having problems, why don't you join me and let's put a work group together, and we'll just do it together, and we'll figure it out, and we'll go through, I'll give you the things that I've learned along the way. Well, that was close to 6 years ago. And now we have got over 1,500, probably more like 1,600 now, that have graduated from the course, the work group that I put together, and published books. I'm typically publishing, let me see, in 2022, I did 127 books. And in 2023, probably closer to 200. So we continue to publish books with and on behalf of our clients, and my own books as well. It is just it's been an amazing journey, and I love to help people, and I love to make a difference. And it's not very many people that are able to say that they wake up every morning knowing that they're going to be meeting with people and making dreams come true that day. But that's exactly what I get to do. And I absolutely love it. I have since left my position, and I do this full time. It is my business. I've formed a publishing company, and I'm having the time of my life. I absolutely love working with folks just like you. So I'm just going to take a look at some of the comments here. Let's see. To inform, inspire, and entertain, says Denise, to help children with worry. With thoughts around worry. Great. Desiree says, something that my daughter and I can do together as she gets older and be able to pass something on to her. What an amazing why that you have. And I will also mention, it makes me think about an individual that I helped publish her book, it was actually a great opportunity to add that to her college applications as well. She's a published author of a fantasy book now. And I think it made quite a difference, in addition to some of the things, the grades and other things, because it differentiates her from many of the other kids that have great grades as well. Patrice says, just to clarify, as self-published, I wanted to write books for children with learning differences who can't follow a story. That's an amazing why. My why is because I believe in love's ability to heal broken people. Pamela, that's beautiful. You're getting ready to retire from nursing and teaching, and nursing school is what I've always wanted to write full time. That is just beautiful. Patrice is asking, do I help market the books I publish? We'll talk more about marketing as we get into some of the things that the author work group does. But yes, absolutely. Marketing and putting together a marketing plan and strategy is definitely something I help with, and that you will learn in the author group as well if you join with us. All right. Two Dogs says, I've always been an author. Now I am. Next step is to become a successful, as in well-known and widely read author. that's a great why. Let's keep it going. Absolutely. And I'm happy whether this introduction to self-publishing may be a little bit, you may be past what I'm going to go through, but hang in there. And if you want to ask additional clarifying questions on more of the, the more complex stuff, then we will cover that. I'll have open Q&A at the end of our session today. All right, so let's move on. And thank you for sharing. Again, these are my beautiful babies, grandbabies, and some of the things that I've been doing, my self-published children's books, and I have another in the works that is going to be a Christmas story written with this little one here. Kyrie has come up with some great ideas, and she is definitely an author's granddaughter because she really knows her stuff around stories. And I'm also in the process of finalizing a nonfiction book called Self-Publishing Made Simple, which will be released in Q1, between Q1 and Q2 of this year. So that is in the works, and I'm looking forward to moving that as we go. Okay. Today, as an attendee of this presentation, you are going to receive a free gift. That includes a few key things that are extremely important if you're new to self-publishing. The first one is my self-publishing checklist, and it has all of the steps that I go through with my children's book authors and others that I mentor and coach, and gives you an opportunity to really understand the steps about self-publishing. There's also a budget spreadsheet that will help you to figure out and determine what it costs to publish your book. Both of these have associated videos, links that I'll include in that list as well. And then my timeline for how I typically publish within 12 weeks. So those things are completely free to those that have attended today. If you've registered for the meeting, wonderful, you will get those. Later this evening, I'll be sending out email. And if you did not register and you want to make sure that you get those, you can feel free to email myself, April. Let me just post it in here. April at thelittlelabradoodle.com. April at thelittlelabradoodle.com. And if you let me know that you were in attendance and you'd like to have a copy of these things, then you're more than welcome to do that. I also have a link for you for a one-on-one discovery call, and you can access that through aprilcox.com/discovery. And it will be a meeting with my my amazing customer success VP, Tara, and she will be able to talk through your personal situation and determine kind of what might work out best for additional services or products that we have available. So all of that is just my free gift for you participating in today's call. I wanted this to be very valuable, and I wanted you to know that this to me it's more important to me that you learn that you have access to things than it is about, signing you up for any kind of high-end, offer here. This is really about making sure that people don't get taken advantage of and that you have the information that you need to be successful. Okay, so let me go ahead and move on here. Come on now. Why is this not? There we go. So what is self-publishing? This is the definition that the AI, ChatGPT, gave me. So it is the process of publishing a book on your own without the assistance of a traditional publisher. It can be done through online platforms like Amazon KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing. It is also something that you can do yourself through like formatting, printing, and selling on your own website. You don't necessarily have to use platforms like Amazon. So there are other options that are still considered self-publishing. And the basic benefits are more control, pricing. You're in control over the content, the pricing, the distribution of your work, but it also requires more effort on your side to understand what is being done, how to do it, and also in getting your resources editing, design, and marketing. So there are some additional things that we're going to be talking about as we move forward here as well. Okay, so let's take a look at self-publishing versus traditional publishing. So with self-publishing, you do not need an agent or to do any kind of querying. With traditional publishing, very often you must have an agent first to submit to a publisher. Some publishers will allow you to submit directly to them, but it does take, there are efforts that are here. And one of the points that Tara, my assistant, has made is that it is really these days getting harder and harder to go through traditional publishing because there are so many celebrities and folks with huge followings that are writing children's books, that those are the kinds of folks that they want to work with. Because if you don't already have a huge following and a platform, then it is much harder for a traditional publisher to get the work out there and to make sales. So if you aren't falling into that, then what you end with is rejection letters and a lot of time in building up the whole part of this of being successful here and getting that book published. With self-publishing, you are going to pay for your own things like editing and illustration and cover design. It's an investment that you need to make. And that's why you saw me put together a budget template. And that's what I'm sharing with you. When it's traditionally published, the traditional publisher would pay for those things to create your book. You're just submitting your manuscript to them, and then they are paying to move it forward after they approve your story and move things there. With the self-publishing, you are in control of all of the aspects of your book. And I am a control freak. I love the idea that I have the ability to make the decisions. There is no rejection letters. If your story is about if you write a story and in your mind you have children that are starring roles and you're picked up by a traditional publisher, in the end, it might be a family of ducks or teddy bears, or who knows, it could be animals. You don't have any control over that, because once you sign that contract, all those decisions belong to the publisher and they decide these key things. Many of them don't even allow you to have any input into the illustrations or the illustration style, the front cover design. And so you have to kind of trust that their decisions are going to be helpful, but it doesn't necessarily align with your goals. With self-publishing, you're going to build your team. You need to have the individuals to help you through it, or have the knowledge and skills to do some things yourself. With a publisher, they have their own resources or freelancers that they will use to a team of people to support your project. With the marketing side, you are responsible for marketing your own project. With the traditional publisher, for the first 1 to 2 months, the publisher does the marketing or will contribute to some of the marketing, plus you are going to need to do marketing, whether you do self-publishing or traditional publishing. So make no mistake, if you don't know how to do marketing and you want to be successful as an author, that is one area that you will want to invest in some professional development and training. With self-publishing, you keep 100% of the royalties. With traditional publishing, they will give you an advance. Usually it's, hundreds, not thousands of dollars, and then a percent of your sales once the advance has been met. So maybe it's 5% of your royalties or 10% of your royalties that you get. The rest of it goes to the traditional publisher. And once the percentage meets whatever they've already paid you, that's when your royalties will kick in. With self-publishing, you're going to be much quicker to market, and typically, you know, I can get something published within a period of about 4 weeks to 12 weeks, which is, you know, some of the stuff that I do with my author work group. With traditional publishers, I've seen people it take, you know, 5 to 10 years to even break in and get their first traditional publishing deal. And then once their book is accepted, it can take years, 2 to 3 years, to see the fruition and the publishing of that book. So it is a much longer process with traditional publishing. Okay, so that's the differences between the two. The other thing I wanted to introduce, because you've probably heard the term hybrid publisher or vanity press. So a vanity press is very much, you know, anybody who wants to get their book published just goes to them and they will publish it. And there's a big fee involved. With a hybrid publishing company, they are typically giving you, or sometimes they call themselves assisted publishers. They are particularly providing you services, so help to publish your book. And some of them are great, some of them are predatory. So it's really important that you get to know the people that you are planning to work with, that you check them, that you know, it's really buyer beware with some of these, to make sure that you are working with somebody that's reputable. Okay. Predatory publishers, let me just give you a little bit of information about when I say that some of these are predatory. Take a look at your contracts. Some of them tie you up and tie up your book for years. Some of them have rights to your story and they are listed as the publisher, which then means that you do not become the owner, the publisher. It is not yours to manage, to receive the royalties. They receive the royalties and then they divvy them up for you. Some of the problems with that is that if they're receiving the royalties and your book is being put in their account, and they go out of business, which a lot of publishers do, whenever you have a lot of people looking for help and you've got this kind of an environment, a lot of these predatory publishers pop up. They offer services, they charge a lot of money, and then they take the money. A lot of them, just after a period of time, they can't sustain a business like this because their reputation gets out and just things don't go well. So the business folds, or they open it up under another name and then they do the same thing over and over. So you just really want to be wise about checking with authors and with organizations that vet publishers so that you can get a really good recommendation on who to work with. A lot of times, not only are the prices really high, but they have low quality editing and illustration and cover design that just does not end up being successful or getting you the kind of sales that you want. There's a lot of complaints, there's poor service, lack of responsiveness, and they typically also require you to purchase a certain number of books. And if they're telling you that they're going to upload your book into their account, and they're going to give you an ISBN, those are not good things. Those are red flags from my perspective, because you want to be in control. You want to have your royalties deposited into your own account, and you want to be the one that has everything at your own fingertips. Own your ISBNs. Don't let a publisher give you those ISBNs and have it, because then they become the owner of the work, the publisher of the work. And it's very difficult to get a listing taken down or update or get your rights back from them so that you can relaunch the book. So just be careful. There is an organization called the Alliance of Independent Authors. They do have a recommended list of publishers and vendors that you can work with. I highly recommend looking at their vetted list. We are a proud partner. member of the Alliance of Independent Authors, and there are a number of others that are reputable. They also are a watchdog group that will give authors heads up about those that are predatory that you should be aware of. So it's a great organization to check out, and you can go to their website. It's the Alliance of Independent Authors. I think it's .com or .org. Okay. So I'm going to just give you a high level around the steps to self-publish. So writing your manuscript and going through your own self-editing and finding a professional editor. And then you move through to the editing process. And there's a number of different types of edits. This is something that some people just aren't even aware of. There is a developmental edit, which is very important that you start with a developmental edit. It is more comprehensive. They are going to look at the story arc. They're going to look at character development. They're going to give you notes and help you to improve your story. So I know one of the folks in the meeting today posted, I'm concerned that maybe my story's not good enough. That's okay. That's what a developmental editor is for. And they will work with you and get the story to where it needs to be. Once you get past that part, then they'll do line editing, copy editing. This is more about, spelling, grammar, punctuation, and the way that the paragraphs flow and move from one to another. In the final stages, they'll do you'll have a proofreader. Sometimes this can be the same person doing all of these different types of editing in multiple rounds, or it could be it could be multiple different individuals. And then at the end of all of that, once the editing is done and you are celebrating, you are going to want to file your copyright with copyright.gov, just to make sure that your intellectual property is protected. If you are a children's book author, like myself and others I've worked with, you're going to want to do interior illustrations. And even if you're not doing illustrations, you're still going to have cover design. So this is kind of the artistic step, which typically starts with a storyboard, a very rough sketch from end to end about how they might envision your story. They will create your characters from a number of different angles for you. They'll put your sketches together and then once all of that is approved, it moves forward to coloring. For those who are not formatting their own books, and I don't recommend that you format your own unless you're really experienced with it, then, there are going to be templates, and you're going to take the words and the art and put them together. And this is done by a designer, book formatter. So we'll talk more about the people coming up shortly. And then lastly is the publishing. You're going to do pre-launch, launch planning. You're going to upload to those print on demand, or you're going to send files to your printer and get, copies printed from an offset printer, or both. You can do both. You're not, just because you do print on demand doesn't mean you can't print some for yourself to sell at events and be able to use those for school visits and things like that. There's a big line here. I didn't put it as a step because we do not have marketing as a separate afterthought here. Planning through the next step, each step of the way. During writing, you're planning for editing. You continue with planning ahead, but also marketing starts from the very beginning when you start writing your story all the way through publishing. And when we talk about my 12-week author group, then you end up getting, you'll have every single week of the 12-week program that we have a marketing task and training that you're doing for every single week. Because at the beginning, it's about creating your social media just to be able to create your account. And then as you go through things, it's bringing people along on the journey with you, sharing some things. It should never, ever be a surprise to your family, friends, and to those that follow you that, surprise, I wrote a book. Guess what? It's ready for you to buy, right? That's not the right way to market and launch your book. So you're going to learn about all of that stuff, and we'll talk more. We can absolutely talk more about that with your questions as well. There is also, to be successful with self-publishing, it's very important that you have your dream team together. People, excuse me, I'm just going to have a drink here for my throat. So you want people that you can trust, that have been vetted, so that you are not, again, taken advantage of or get low quality for the work that is being provided. This is my editor, Bobby Hinman. She's a great example of an editor that works from beginning to end with you to go through the story process, making sure that your story is the quality that it deserves. Especially important if you're doing a rhyming story for children's book authors. Make sure that your editor has experience, has a lot of experience in rhyming books. So just another opportunity for you to make sure you're aligning the right people with the focus and be able to create a high quality book in the end. For this, I put my book cover of my first book, Puppy Pickup Day, is here. And you can see the role that the artists play with children's books, you know, having a beautiful cover, having illustrations that clearly depict emotion and are beautiful for children, it's really important. And it doesn't always mean that you need to, like me, I hired a former Disney illustrator. You don't need to have a Disney illustrator to have a beautiful and successful book. You can still have simple illustrations, but they need to be high quality. These two books here are books that where we had a book rescue. Authors came to me and the book wasn't selling. The ads were not successful. And they said, Amazon ads are not working for me. And then I looked at the book covers that were they were terrible. And there was nobody clicking on those because it made the book, which was, the interiors were beautiful, but the book cover itself did not do the book justice. So design, you know, the artists, that there are artists out there that will do cover design for you. And this is just an absolute, you know, day and night difference on these updated covers. I'm going to have to do before and afters because it's just amazing to see the difference that an artist can make, and getting the right artist. If you don't have a high quality cover, if you don't have high quality, beautiful illustrations, no matter how good your story is or what's inside, it's very unlikely to be successful. So just make sure that you place value and that you don't skimp on the artwork or the cover design. Those are very important. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. A book formatter or designer, this, I kind of use them in exchange, the same term, but these are the folks that are going to create these beautiful designed pages for you, take the words and the images and create a beautiful layout. And then in the end, part of their job is going to be providing you with the actual files that you can use to send to your printer, to upload to Amazon or to Ingram or Lulu, wherever you're doing your print on demand. So that is the role of the book formatter or book designer. Okay. They take your images and words and create a professionally formatted book. Now, there are people, for those of you that are not doing children's books, there are formatting software out there like Atticus and Vellum. And even Readsy has one that you can use. I think it's free, where you can put your manuscript up there and you can format things. Just make sure that you know what you're doing and that you have that professionally designed cover as well. But you can, if you have that skill level, you may be able to save yourself some money if you don't have like a highly complex children's book. That is definitely an option for you. Okay. And of course, a role of a mentor and coach. I hope that I can be that for you, just to guide you through the process. But if not me, then find somebody who's been there, done that, and maybe they're ahead of you in this process. They have a lot of experience in publishing, and make sure that you get someone that can help hold you accountable, that can provide the encouragement when things get tough. And if you run into troubles, can help you to figure out what's going on. That's the role of a mentor. There's also some other roles that are kind of optional, but some of the types of people I've got here on my other roles: project manager, a publisher. Sometimes, we talked about the publishing role, a marketing specialist. Some people prefer to get that additional help. Maybe somebody that is very familiar with Amazon ads, a social media manager. If you are not very savvy with social media, that's potentially someone that you might want on your dream team. Perhaps a virtual assistant. I don't know what I would do without mine. Video creators, music producer, and songwriter, if you're doing songs along with your books. I mean, these are just some of the things that my authors have occasionally taken advantage of, and that I have. Your accountant and tax professional. It's important for you to consult with them, because all of the things you're doing are going to impact your taxes and other things. How can you maximize that? So your accountant is somebody that's part of your dream team as well. Perhaps you're doing crowdfunding to raise money for your book. That there are crowdfunding consultants or coaches that will help you through that. Some people engage with a self-care coach who tries to make sure that what they're doing is staying on track, and that they're not, impacting their health goals as well. And there are also the ability or the need sometimes to connect with influencers, bloggers, YouTubers, podcasters, media, right, to get attention and for your book. So there's a lot of different aspects. And as you publish your first book, it's time to go from, hooray, I'm an author, to this is now a business. So I refer to you as an authorpreneur. You are, unless it is a one and done thing that you're doing for a personal, like, legacy project to cross something off a bucket list, if this is something that you want to grow passive income, then you're going to want to start building that network. And a lot of people, when I go through all of this, they say, April, all this sounds really overwhelming. Like, where do I find all of these people? There are places like readsy.com where you can find help, and you can look for certain resources that have been vetted. For those who are working with me, I have a pre-vetted list of editors, illustrators, and all of the different roles that you saw there. I have got a list of pre-vetted folks that you can work with, that I stand behind, and that I've been using, and that, my 1,500 plus authors have gone through and used folks. If they don't work out, or if there's any issue, I do get involved, and I help with working through any issues that come up when you're working with my people. And I also take the time to pre-negotiate pricing for you. My illustrators all work with my contract that I put together. And we can talk more about that if you're interested, but there's a lot of benefit to having access to a list like that, where you don't have to worry about whether or not they are reputable, whether they're going to take advantage of you. And that's something that I'm happy to share with whether you're doing coaching with me or you're part of my work group, you will get access to that list as well. So just a brief self-publishing process, right? I'm going to just quickly go through the fact here. We talked about all of the different steps, right? Writing, editing, illustrations, design, prepare for launch, and publish, right? That's what most people think is all that self-publishing is. But the way that we tackle it, especially in the author group that I put together, you really have to get your goals and strategy together. There's research to do. You need to really know your target audience. You need to do some strategizing around your budget. How are you going to market your book, right? There's stuff that you need to do ahead of time that we will go through in the author group, and that you really should be doing before you write the story and do the editing and all of that stuff. Then there's some planning that has to happen. So you create that resource plan, the people that you're going to use. You put that financial budget together so that you know how it's going to be funded. You've got your book launch plan, you've got your marketing plan. All of these pieces are important for you to be successful. And then once the story is published, there's also continuing marketing plan, executing that marketing plan, publishing, communicating, running ads, going to events, continuing to grow knowledge and exposure for your book, monitoring, analyzing, and adjusting your approach so that you can continue to be successful. So that is an important part of self-publishing. And so I just want to get you out of thinking this is all you need to do and you're done, and then people are going to start buying your book. Not without careful planning and understanding of how all this works and how you can be successful at launching, marketing, and selling your book. Okay. Now I'm going to switch gears to common self-publishing mistakes. I don't want you to get trapped into these pitfalls. So number one, we already talked about predatory publishers. Avoid them at all cost. Skipping a professional edit. Please don't do that. It is not okay to just that your cousin, is good in English, or you've got a teacher friend that can look at something for you. You need to find a professional editor that does this for a living, who is well-versed in the genre that you write in. It is very important that you do that and you don't skip that professional edit, because what will result is a high quality product. And they know the tropes, the issues and the things that you need to be aware of, that some of the other folks who are just good at English, or maybe, readers of this genre, will not understand the way that a professional editor will. And don't let marketing be an afterthought. Too many people have come to me and said, my family's going to be so surprised, I'm ready to click publish. And, that's not the way to do it. You really need to build marketing into every step of the process. Do not compromise on quality. That is a common mistake that I see. Some people are so worried about budget or they choose the wrong people that maybe are lower priced, and they end up with much lower quality than they could have if they had done a little research, or maybe they had access to some of the pre-vetted resources that I have for you. And don't go it alone. That is another, some people try to do everything themselves. They want to just, try out this process of self-publishing, which is perfectly fine. But if you're doing it for your family and you just want to do it yourself and go through the process, learn a little something in the process, that is perfectly fine. But if you want to produce something that is going to generate passive income, that is going to continue to grow income for you, build a brand, and you want to be a publisher and make a living. Maybe you, like me, want to leave your day job and make this your full-time job. I have many authors that have hit 6 figures and more writing and publishing. There's a lot of amazing success stories out there and you could be one of them, but going it alone is not going to get you there. Okay. Now I'm just going to put this slide here up, and I want you to take a moment and give yourself 1 point for each one of these things that rings true for you. And in the comments, will you post out of 20, what is your score? For me, it's 20 out of 20. This will indicate whether or not self-publishing is right for you, is a right solution for you. Each one of these 20 elements is a key component for success in self-publishing. And I created this list based on experience in the past 6 years of working with authors, and took all of those things that are the keys to success and put them here in this list of 20 things. So I'm very interested in hearing, how did you score for the self-publishing process here? What from on a scale of 1 to 20, where do you stand? So Patrice says 15. Okay. So highly on the end towards self-publishing. Sally has 18. Very nice. If you have comments or questions while we're waiting for people to post their score, feel free to jump in and ask, and we can spend a few minutes on questions. I'll pause here while people are also commenting on their score. 19, Allison, wow. 19-ish, Regina. Amazing. Zilquanian, 19. Desiree, 19. So these are the elements of what it takes to be successful. You need to have that dream. You need to have the grit. You need to have a great story that you believe in. And many of my authors are just tired of the rejection, and they're ready to move forward and take control of their own destiny. So do we have any hands up or comments here with questions? Feel free to take yourself off of mute if you're live here with me. If you are watching the replay or you're on YouTube, feel free to post a question there, and I will be happy to answer it as well. Okay. So Quanian, go ahead. What's your question?
Hi, Plan. Good morning.
Hi.
Plan, my question is today related kids books. Second book is launch coming soon. And my question is, the first books already paperback versions published. And my question is the how to paperback to convert many people, for example, people not purchase paperback, just PDF files, buy now and download the files and purchase the $10, $5, 90 cents free. How to upload the PDF files in Kindle versions?
Yeah, so let's hold that till the end, because it's a more of an advanced question versus for those that are brand new to self-publishing. So I want to give those folks that have questions about the introduction to self-publishing first, but remind me at the end and we'll talk about video. That's something that you do through Amazon ads. It is not something that you would do uploading it to your listing yourself. It's also something that you're that when people review your book, they can upload a video. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else have a question?
April, very nice coloring, color designs, yellow a blue and a black color. Very nice second cover. I will show you.
Yep, let's wait for the end, okay?
Just 2 seconds.
Okay. All right. So, anyone else? So June says, I'm a hybrid author, started indie and then went trad, but looking at indie again. So June, what was your experience? You know, pros and cons. You've got both sides. Do you want to share a little something here?
Sure. I went indie, I guess in about 2010, and I'm a technotard, but a dear friend of mine led the way. She had been published with a small press, and she kind of gave me a little nudge, and she said, "You know, I've made more in 2 months as an indie than I did with 2 years as with this small press." And I went, "Okay, I'm in. I'm following you."
Yeah.
So she really led me through the path of how technically to publish my book. I have a master's degree with a minor in English, and I did not edit. I did not go to a professional editor. I edited my own books,
Hmm.
and I did the covers. I did every step of the way all by myself. And I'll tell you, I was a member of, I still am a member of RWA, and it seemed like there were a group of kind of the I called them the big girls, the girls that published something with a traditional publisher, and they were still up on their thrones waving at the lowly us. And I kept talking. I had a book that I had written, and all the big girls said, "Oh, it's too long. Oh, you have too many characters. Oh, I mean, it was just like too many points of view." And I kept trying to make it smaller. And I finally got it down to 102,000 words.
Hmm.
And I thought, to heck with it. I don't even care anymore. And I just threw it out there. And my first month that it was out, I made $8,000.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
I think it's just, you got to write the book of your heart.
You
But
do.
the three things that I can share that will make it work for you is number one, have a great cover,
Oh, yes, that is critical.
because people are looking at it in a little postage stamp size.
Yep.
And number two, please avoid those long, long titles. Try something that they can see, you
Right.
know, and because this book was called On Ice,
Ah, okay.
nice and short.
Yep.
Um, and the third thing is just write a damn good book.
It needs to
But
be.
you can write the best book in the world and stand up on the mountain and throw it into the abyss, and nobody will ever hear it if you're not willing to roll up your sleeves and really
Mhm.
get out there and market, do whatever it takes, go to all the different media things.
Mhm.
I actually spent the first 2 days of the month on Hootsuite just posting, publishing for 24 hours a day.
Yep.
Seriously,
Mhm.
24 hours a day. I had a tweet posted for the whole month. So I spent the first 2 days of the month
So
just,
how did that compare to your trad publishing experience?
well, I actually have a good um, experience with traditional publishing.
Mhm.
Um, I hooked my editor. You just got to try everything.
Mhm.
And I hooked my editor with a Savvy Authors Pitch Fest, and I saw that this particular editor was going to take pitches, and I stalked her. I looked her up on everything you could find. I read everything about her, and I hooked her with one line that was, "Have I got some cowboys for you?" And she
So
bit.
yours is the cowboy books. Okay, we had a question
Yeah,
about that.
she bit. She bit. So
Yeah,
I
I
have a
mean,
line of,
so you've had a good experience on both sides, and yet you're
yes,
coming back to the indie author experience for this upcoming book as well, right?
yes. I realized that I have about 20 books in my backlist
Okay.
that are mine, my indies.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been updating the long one, the one that made me so much money, bringing it into the today. And I'm planning on publishing it again.
Okay.
Um, but I just, I realized I've got, what you write, this is your product.
Yeah.
If you were, if you were out, carving statues or something, that's your product. And this, these books are my product. I have poured my heart and soul and my fingers typing into them for years.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that because I published them in 2010 that they're dead. I mean,
No,
I feel like I
definitely do
can,
a new version of them. Well,
right.
that's amazing. And thank you for sharing your experience with us. I'm just looking at some of the people that have posted their scores here. I've got Allison. Sally says 18, Allison 19, 19 for John, Regina 19, Zilquarnian 19, Desiree 19, Denise 19, Michael 19. So we got a lot of people that I think can really benefit from what we're doing here as self-published authors. So I'm going to take a moment and go back to finalizing some things, and we'll come back for more questions. So feel free to post your questions here if you don't want to take yourself off of mute and chat. You can also raise your hand and I'll call on you, and we can do that as well after this. So besides the solutions that we're talking about here, so I promised you that hopefully I've given you some really good ideas, some, pitfalls to avoid, some opportunities that, and so that you understand the traditional versus self-publishing benefits and things like that. So I'm going to give you just the kind of slight overview of what I do as an independent publisher. I have my 90-day author work group. It is a 3-month program, 12 weeks long, and it starts on January 16th and it runs through April 9th. It is, we have live sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have a comprehensive workbook, which I have around here somewhere I can share with you. We have video lessons, self-publishing vault that includes things like an author illustrator contract, a list of 1,000 children's book influencers, bloggers, media. I have a list of schools, libraries, everything that I have put together for my own journey. I share with in this self-publishing vault, which comes with the course. It is also has my list of pre-vetted folks. It is so over the course of the last 5 years that I've been running this work group, every time somebody has struggled or we've run into an issue, a question, or a resource that is needed, we have created one. For example, a list of, email outreach for a launch team, templates for your launch team, the checklist to prepare and get ready for launching your book, things like social media posts and templates that you can use. Lots and lots, everything that you could possibly imagine that you will need to publish a children's book is here. And I've also had a number of folks who are not children's book publishers who come through the program for the benefits of this fantastic community. Here's, kind of the many different resources you get. This is a screenshot of the videos that you'll see 12 weeks worth of video lessons and homework. This is the online course area where you get replays to all the courses, the live sessions we do together, and also the video homework each week. This is the online version of my workbook, but I also have a printed version as well. It is an amazing resource. And this is the last week to enter for those of you who are children's book authors that need that hand holding. This could be just the solution that you need. The thing that I love the most about it is the community that's developed. We probably have about 12 people signed up. We have a couple of more spots. The options we have are daytime at 1 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays and Thursdays, And then I have another option that is 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so whether you do daytime or evening, I've had some people come to both because they just enjoy being together with this group so much. But it becomes a community. We share, new releases of a children's book cover is in, or hey, I've just got a couple of different characters that have been sent to me by my illustrator. Can I share it? And we're there cheering each other on, and we're walking through this process together, completing the different homework together. And each week they've got me for 90 minutes on Tuesday, 90 minutes on Thursday. So 3 hours a week we are together online, and you have the additional access to all of these tools along with my private Facebook group for all of the students between meetings. If there are questions that come up, then those are there. And I also have student mentors that are there and able to answer questions as well. So this is like what happens when you focus specifically on creating something amazing for 5 years. It was not this good when, year one, but over time it has become my signature program I put together for folks. And I'm very proud of it. And it is, again, starting on Tuesday. The price to participate is $14.99, and you get the 12 weeks and all of these tools, the self-publishing vault, and all of the things we talked about. It is $14.99. Again, I think there's 2, maybe 3 more seats left for the Tuesday start. So I'm going to just pause now. I'm done with the spiel. And so that if there's anyone that has questions specifically, let's start with questions about the author group that's coming up. And then we'll open it up to additional questions for others that outside of, just the author group. And I'm here to answer. I'll be online through 9:30 for you guys. Okay, feel free to take yourself off mute or just post the question. Okay, so June says, thanks, April. I know things have changed since I indie published. So looking to you for updates, trends for 2024, ways to make my life easier as I go indie again. So what is the genre that you're writing in? Is it romance, June? I think it's romance, if I'm remembering correctly. So what we'll...
Yeah, it is romantic suspense mostly. I really love to murder people.
I love that. I have an amazing editor who also writes romance. Her name is Joanne Skye, and I would highly recommend connecting with Joanne, especially because you said that you haven't worked with an editor before, but she is, as a romance writer, she is very connected with trends in your specific genre. And I think it would be really helpful for you to get, I don't write romance, and I think it's important to get those trends and upcoming things from somebody who is in that genre. Other than that, I would focus, if you're not already doing things with Amazon ads, there's a lot of benefit from doing that. Video ads have worked tremendously well for me, especially over the Christmas season. And I think because so few of the authors are using video ads, it can really help you to have high cost and a lot of ROI. So those are a couple things that I would include.
Thank you. Well, I worked, of course, with my traditional publisher. I worked with their editors, but I'm going to give you, you have to be, thank you for I wrote down her name. I'll look her up, but anybody can call themselves an editor.
Yeah. That's why having a pre-vetted editor.
Absolutely.
Joanne is a children's book author. She is a romance author, a romance writer and author. I'm not sure if that's her name her pen name for her romance. So I will, if you give me your email address here or send me an email, then I will be happy to make an introduction so you can connect with Joanne.
Thank you. I also have about a dozen children's books that I wrote for my granddaughters.
Ah, nice.
So,
That's my genre.
okay,
That's where I
okay,
know in and out. Yes.
cool. Well, I'm going to be getting together with you on them because they're just sitting in a file.
Mm,
My granddaughters are in their 20s now, so they don't care.
nice, nice. Well, that's a great opportunity. And this author work group for the children's book side would be really helpful if that's something that you're ready to move forward on. I would say grab your few favorites and then I can connect you with an editor who will review them and let you know which one is like does she think is the best that might have the best chance and her favorite, and then we can use that to go through the work group if you're interested.
Okay, I have a question for you too. I have heard pros and cons about rhyming books.
Mhm.
What's your thought on that?
So the pro is that people love rhyming books. It is helpful for kids to learn how to read because they kind of that sing-song kind of flow of a rhyming book is really endearing. There are some really popular rhyming books out there. Some of the downfalls is rhyming books are really hard to write. Good rhyme is really hard to write. And there are a number of what I call the rhyme and meter police that will tell you in your reviews, they will comment, they will harass you if your rhyme is not good. It will be just clearly not get good reviews because people love their rhyming books and they are militant about poor rhyme. They will let people know that it's bad. The other thing is if you write in rhyme, you are not likely to get a foreign deal because,
Right.
to sell your books for translation in other languages, it won't translate well with a rhyming book because it's not, you have to kind of transfer it into prose and then have it translated in order for that to happen. And so you typically won't get those deals. Now there is exceptions to it. I have a couple of authors that were able to get deals, and even though their books rhyme, but mostly that was because of the extraordinary sales that they've had. So that's, those are the pros and cons from my perspective.
This it's only one that is rhyming, but it's like Dr. Seussical sort of
Yeah.
very just fun and it's hilarious. So I feel pretty good about it. But
Good.
I had heard that rhyming books were DOA, so I kind of stepped back from the edge.
Oh, a lot of my authors write rhyming books.
Cool.
I'll give you a couple to check out. Actually, there's one of my authors, Rachel Hills, does nothing but write rhyming books, and her last name spelled Hilz, Rachel Hills. If you look at the book titled Santa's Lost Reindeer, the first year it was released as a Christmas book, it profited $40,000 that first year.
Oh, I like it already.
Lots of great rhyming books. Bobby Hinman, who is my editor that I also showed you guys, she writes rhyming books as well. And we have Mrs. Claus has menopause was released this past Christmas and did very well. We also had she also wrote another book that we advertised this Christmas that was really amazingly sold a lot of sales, was I Saw Santa's Underpants. So, this is a lot of fun. Rhyming books are a lot of fun and they do really well, but that doesn't mean, and sometimes your editor will come back to you when you send in a rhyming manuscript and she'll say, I would recommend you write it in prose because I think the story would be more powerful if you weren't trying to rhyme everything. Like you have to kind of, change things around just to be able to get the words to rhyme, when it could have been a much better story had you just written it in prose. And when you have a really good editor like Bobby Hinman, she is amazing, and she will give you those kinds of recommendations. Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I Saw Santa's Underwear is definitely, I Saw Santa's Underpants is still a bestseller. Yeah, it is. It's an amazing.
That sounds so funny. Well, I appreciate the humor, and
it's fun. I mean, humor is what tends to make people feel good. Like sometimes we don't have lessons, right? Sometimes it's about getting the family to just laugh, relax, have fun, and bond over a fun story.
well, I think this one is all about the words, and it's all about the title is Weasel Woe, and it's about two Weasel brothers. And it's the first line is Wyatt and Wendell, those woebegone weasels, met Marmaduke Martin with multiple measles. Oh my, said the weasels. Oh my, said the Martin, whose measles those weasels wanted no part in. It goes on from there. It's just
Fun.
funny.
Yeah.
And it's about measles, and at the end it's about get your kids vaccinated, please.
Yeah. That's a nice, fun way of doing that, right? So let me just take a look at the comments here and the questions I've got in the chat. Patrice says, what's a good ACOS? And that's kind of Amazon ads language. It just means it's a fraction of how much you have paid for your ads and how much you have sold. So if you have paid $100 and you sold $100 worth of books, your ACOS would be 100. So 100%, because it cost you 100% of what you made to produce the books. With video ads this year, I've seen it as low as 20%, and I try to do between 20 and 35%, although it really depends on the phase that you're in. It takes time to get down to that lower ACOS, but that's something that happens over time. I have some great videos on my YouTube channel for Amazon ads that talk about my approach to managing ads, and that can give you a lot more information there. Can you run ads for a series on Amazon? Yes, you can. And those are called brand ads. So you can run the ads for 3 books of yours, and those 3 books are your brand. I got an email recently that they're going to allow you to have a video ad across the top, the first position of the results set, that's going to allow now a video as well as the books. So instead of just seeing the book covers and having that, you actually have the opportunity also to do your series there, or highlight your series with a video. Okay. Patrice says, my books are more educational than a fun story. Are they harder to market? Not necessarily. The education market, you really have to know your target audience. I would say really get tied in with what is your target audience. If your target audience is teachers, curious kids that love animal facts, or parents that are looking to make sure that their kids get some knowledge as well, then you just need to make sure that you're marketing towards that target audience. I have seen some teacher-oriented books do extremely well. One of my authors did Our Class is a Family, which is targeted for teachers to give to their students during the first day or week of school. And it did tremendously well. And lots of social emotional learning or animal facts, nonfiction books are becoming popular. It's just a matter of how you incorporate it. Make sure that you have a beautiful cover and a good hook that speaks to your target audience. And that when they look at the cover and they then click on it to go look at your description, that there's not confusion, because when you confuse, you lose. That's a quote from Donald Miller. You want to make sure that it's easy to find your books, so you're getting some advertising, you're getting some exposure, or you're doing something yourself to drive people to your Amazon listing, and that when they get to your listing, that they're going to want to click buy. Okay.
I was trying to raise my hand, so I apologize that I just
okay.
unmuted and
Yeah, unmute and ask your questions. Go ahead.
Okay. So first, I want to introduce myself. I'm Allison McGrath, and I'm right outside of Boston. And I am a school adjustment counselor and love our class as a family. So I was so excited to hear you say that. I've done lots of lessons on that, and usually start the school year by reading that to many of my students. So I just find value in that so much.
Independently published author that has done amazingly well with that book, and her
I love that.
Yes, amazing.
So I wanted to say two things. I wanted to say that when you talk about vetting people to work with, I think that's so important. And I sort of went down the rabbit hole of the children's book authors and illustrators Facebook page, which has been so amazing as a resource, but also so overwhelming. And I think I've gone through lots of conversations, lots of meeting people, lots of back and forth. And that's been a journey in and of itself to try and find the right people. So I think that is so important and so valuable. I just successfully met my goal on Kickstarter, so that's super exciting.
Congratulations!
Yeah,
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. So good things that hopefully are coming, and I think as you talk about just sort of building that before you publish your book, like now people I see in the community are like, oh, congratulations! Like, I'm not there yet, but people are aware and people know, and so I think that's so important as well. But my question is, what would you say is like a realistic budget for a children's book? And this book happens to be on social emotional learning and kind of worries and how to navigate some of that. I believe it'll be about 32 page spread. But I'm just curious, like I just
from happy to answer that question, and I'll give you some ranges. But
okay.
When I send you out these links, go in and watch my video where I walk you through the template to fill it out, because some people are going to want, like, you might need a website, you may need, so I go through kind of like the whole thing of stuff you might want to budget for if you have not ever done this before. So I'll give you some, for a children's book author, editor, my #1 editor is Bobby Hinman, but I have probably 7 or 8 different ones you can choose from. And I would budget $325 for editing. That's what Bobby charges. And that is for the developmental editing. It is for, she does everything, the whole comprehensive edit. So you've got multiple rounds. She also edits your press kit, your bio, your book blurb, the back cover, your listing, and she is basically your editor for life. So if you have to go back and rework, and it's all like no charge, you've already paid her for it, she'll go back and she'll help you go through it. She also is my co-host for this 12-week author group. So she is there advising people every step of the way when they're editing issues or anything comes up. So you get that expertise for free. Roughly editing, I would budget the $325. For illustrations, I would say if you are looking for very simple illustrations, you might get away with, say, $1,500 budget. Be very careful with going to a place like Fiverr or one of the author groups where, you know, somebody says, hey, I'm an illustrator and I'm going to charge you, you know, $10 an image or $25 an image. You can get lower price. You can find somebody on Fiverr that'll give you $5 images, but very likely they're going to be clip art. It's not going to be the quality. So if you're asking about quality, I would say no less than $1,500 for a full book. I would say what I would budget for myself is $3,000 to $3,200. That is my preferred illustration firm. They have 35 different illustrators and artists you can work with, and they are a dream. And so when we, if you want to talk with me later about, who that is, how you do that, or just send me an email, I'll make an introduction for you. They are fantastic. And there are other levels of people that, you can get a single illustrator that'll work on something for you for around that price, maybe less. That's where the $1,500 rolls in. But what happens if there's an illness or an emergency or something? So for me, I love the idea that the agency has 35, and I've been working with that agency for 4 years, and I've never, not once, ever had an issue that wasn't able to be resolved, and they manage it like a dream. So again, 3,200, about right. That should do it. Now, when it comes to design, you're looking at $699 for my designer. Others, now, if you're in that self-publishing group that you were talking about, the children's book group, there are people there that will do it for $1,000, $1,500. So that's kind of the higher end. I would say minimum $699. If you want to work with, other resources, then you could be as much as $1,500 for your design. And then things like, if you need a website, I've had some authors that are like, oh, I got my website done, it's $2,200. And I was like, don't spend $2,200 on a website. I have web developers that I have worked with. And like I said, I pre-negotiate things. $200 templates and initial setup for a single page simple website is plenty. And I've got a connection for that for you. There's so much that you can benefit from my knowledge and my network. And that's what I'm here for, to help you. Like, my network becomes your network. I'm not putting up any barriers to you to get connected directly to the people that I've pre-vetted. You get all of that information, and then you can take that and continue to build on that, on those relationships. Video editor, like, I definitely recommend that you create a video book, so that a video book read aloud that's kind of animation, and that'll cost you a couple $100 to do something like that. And if you also add what do you call it, a book trailer, which you can use for video ads. So those things I would definitely spend on. What am I missing? I think that's about it. I mean, if you add those things up, that's a really good budget for your children's book.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. It is almost
very interesting knowledge.
Go ahead and share what you were going to share with us, Silkwarnian, because that'll be the end, and then I'll have to close out. But for anybody who thinks, hey, I think this is something that I'd like to learn more about, I'm going to invite you to go to aprilcox.com discovery. If you want, additional discussions about your particular situation. If you are ready to sign up and you want to grab one of those 3 spots that are left, then you can go to selfpubmadesimple.com and you will see my 90-day way, which is the 12-week author group that I was talking about. All right, so go ahead, Zolkarnian, show us what you got for your cover. Is that what you wanted to share something, right?
Okay, April. I will show you 1 second. Just see 1 second. Wait. Okay. I will design on Canva.
Okay. Now, I do have a lot of authors that try to work their cover designs and things on Canva. And it's okay to get started in that kind of situation. If you are on a low budget and you are looking to do your own work, then you can absolutely use that as a starting point. My recommendation is that you invest in somebody who is a graphic designer, a cover designer, to really up level what you're doing here, Zolkarnian, because while this is okay, I think it could use, it's not the worst I've seen. but I think it can be better with a professional designer to help you. What I do like about this is I like that the yellow color really pops, and I think it will stand out very well as a thumbnail, which is a good thing. I like how large the word coloring is and the number is there. So those, I think that will attract attention for your Amazon ad or for your listing. And I do like the little eyes on the letters. I think that the kids will really like that as well. So it's great for a start. If your budget is low and this is, you know, what you can do and you want to do things yourself to save money, then this is fine. If you want to up level to a more professional level, then I would definitely consult with a graphic designer. Okay. Nice job though. I think it's a great start.
I
Then
have a
next
question.
steps. Table of contents and author's copyrights and benefits of book pages. And let's start it. ABC, A for aeroplane, and what is name of colors used, for example, yellow and red, and trace the A.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's good. I just think that you can get a more attractive visual layout for the interior by using a graphic designer. But I think it's a great start, and it's great to get familiar with the self-publishing process. If you want to be able to put something together and upload it, then it's a great beginning. Did I hear somebody else had a question before we go?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have a question about illustrators. In my indie books, I worked with an audio actress, and she did the audio, and we were like 50-50. So when somebody buys one of the audio,
I'm sorry, you're cutting
book,
out.
she gets 50% and I get 50%. If there was such a thing if there were illustrators who would work, you know, that way too.
Perhaps. I don't recommend it. And I'll give you my 2 cent view.
Okay.
It's my personal opinion, and it's also based on some experiences that I've seen happen. So what I recommend is that you use a work for hire contract so that you own 100% of the artwork. Because and I do have a contract, an author illustrator contract that I share. I like to not have any issue of having to go back to an illustrator to get their permission to do a t-shirt and then if you find somebody and you want to do a 50-50 thing, that can be fine if you have an agreement and you want to put a contract together like that. But it can be a royal pain in the rear end. And the things that have come up in the past with my other authors is that somebody has to calculate all of that every so often, right? And it can take time to pull it all together. And sometimes what is actually what you think is a 50-50 thing can be not quite 50-50 if you're paying for advertising, you're doing all the marketing and the illustrator's not, then is it really fair that they get 50% of the profits? So to me, I prefer to pay somebody a fair price for their work, and I want full control and benefit of all the royalties that come after. And I don't want anybody else having any say in what I do with the artwork. So that's just my approach. And that's how I've, all of the illustrators that are on my list work with my contract, and they provide you with full license. It's a work for hire contract. They give you the source files and they give you layered files so that you can use those and that the designer can use those and tweak those and create marketing materials for you. So I have pre-negotiated all of that with those that are on my list.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. I'm sorry to say I do have to wrap it up because I have somebody in my waiting room for my next meeting. I hope this was really helpful and provided you with some knowledge. And if you do think that this for you, I would try to act quickly because I think those final few spots are going to fill up pretty quick. So thank you again, and I wish you all the best. Keep in touch, and you can find a ton of additional information absolutely free on my YouTube channel, which is Self-Publishing Made Simple with April Cox. I also have a Facebook group, if you're not already a part of it, which is absolutely free, called Learn to Self-Publish with April Cox. And I invite you to join me there, where I go live weekly and answer questions. And I also have a fantastic team that will be there working with you, answering questions, helping folks, because we care about what you're doing and we want you to be successful. So thank you.